Hey guys, welcome back to the Loft, my weekly YouTube show. Tonight I have a very special guest, actress and comedian, Krista Commodore. Welcome to the show, Krista.
Oh my God, thank you so much for having me.
No problem, no problem. So me and you know each other from the New York comedy scene that we've been in for a while. Before we dive into Madame Commodore, could you tell me where you were born and raised?
I'm from Morgantown, West Virginia. It's a big college. It's a little tiny college town.
Okay.
Home of the Mountaineers.
Oh, cool. So could you tell me a little bit about your childhood?
I like to stay inside, eating sugar out of a bowl and watching television. That was I have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Just I didn't like to play outside. That wasn't my thing. I had a really imaginative life.
Mm-hmm.
My grandparents were very, very creative. My grandmother was an artist,
Mm-hmm.
and she was also like this really. She was a huge self-promotion machine.
Mm-hmm.
She would always get us. We lived in Pennsylvania. We were in West Virginia, and she would always get us into the paper.
Wow.
And it might just be like, oh, grandparents went to visit their granddaughter. It's like
Mm-hmm.
not newsworthy stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
she just somehow she was just had this wonderful sense of why not me? Like why not me get in the paper? Like,
Mm-hmm.
people need to know. So it's cool to know that was kind of it was planted deep in my roots, that I had that kind of desire, or that familial desire to be seen, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So were you a creative kid? Were you a creative child?
I wrote a lot of poetry, a lot of really like sad poetry.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was a pretty creative kid. I would paint.
Mm-hmm.
I would write. I loved, just being in my imagination.
Mm-hmm.
I actually used to fantasize about giving an interview.
Okay.
That was something, because I was just I was an only child until I was about 9. And
Okay.
so I had to learn how to play by myself.
Mm-hmm.
My parents weren't really like emotionally available. So
Okay.
I ended up having a really rich fantasy life.
Mm-hmm. Could you tell me some of your comedy influences?
I love Steve Martin.
Okay.
He's one of
Me
my
too.
absolute favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I saw one of his stand-up specials from, I think, the 70s, where he's playing the banjo.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the things that got me to buy an electric guitar during the pandemic, because I was just like, I
Yeah.
loved how he worked it into the act,
Mm-hmm.
and just how he just shredded on the banjo, and this like multifaceted like prop thing, and just weird non sequiturs. I really loved him. I really love Andy Kaufman.
Mm-hmm.
Just you don't know what's real. I like a lot of comedians that you kind of question your reality, and you feel on edge a little bit because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I like the way that kind of squeezes laughter out of people.
Mm-hmm. Could you tell me some of the actors that you admired?
I love Sandra Bernhard, who she's a comedian actor, and she also does these amazing solo shows,
Mm-hmm.
where she sings. So it's like this multifaceted kind of thing. In terms of actors, just like really classic people like Marlene Dietrich, and so Marlena, and like Betty Davis. I love like these noir, like just these iconic women
Mm-hmm.
who just have such a presence about them.
Mm-hmm.
Even Joan Crawford, like, I mean, she gets such a bad rep for the wire hanger thing, but
Yeah.
just these powerful women who just had such a defined sense of self.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I really like them because I never, growing up, I never had that defined sense of self.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel that overwhelming confidence and just like assertiveness, and like, this is who I am. I'm here. And so I really marvel at that. That's something I really respect a lot.
So could you tell me what inspired you to create the character Madame Commodore?
Oh my gosh, Madame Commodore. Well, it's really funny just saying those are my heroes, these actors, these strong actresses.
Yeah.
Madame Commodore is very much she's totally in their league, and
Okay.
she actually was developed out of a pet peeve exercise.
Mm-hmm.
I was taking a sketch writing class, and that was one of the exercises. We had to pick someone
Mm-hmm.
like that we couldn't stand, and we had to list all the reasons why we didn't like them.
Okay.
But and it's funny because the woman I wrote about,
Mm-hmm.
I realized that all these things that I didn't like about her because I was jealous of her.
Okay.
And she was a woman I worked with. She was, she was from the Caribbean. She was this very voluptuous woman in her late 50s with a family and kids. But
Mm-hmm.
she would hold court with all these men.
Mm-hmm.
Like men from other floors would come visit us to see her.
Okay.
She just had a way of making them feel.
Mm-hmm.
She had a way of making them feel like they were really being seen,
Mm-hmm.
like they were special.
Okay.
And so I had this vendetta against her. And then I went to Paris. And around that time, people were just calling me Madame. I was wearing this black hat that, like, a
Mm-hmm.
greeter I work with, people on this, they would call me Madame.
Okay.
And so I went to Paris and I hooked up with this, like, I hadn't been anywhere near a man in years, but he was an Instagram follower who was a comedian. And it was this very memorable event during the time that I think during that time, Louis C.K. also got busted for all this Me Too stuff. So all the Me Too stuff was happening.
Okay.
And I came back to New York, and I just developed this. She gave me a sense of strength because I felt really powerless.
Mm-hmm.
And with her, I could go into an audience of men and do things that I would never as Krista do. I could go sit on their laps. I could talk to them like they were my bitches. Like it was just,
Mm-hmm.
it was just like, and men loved it. Men really liked it. They liked being sexually harassed by me. Well, I would ask them first if it was okay, or pinching their asses. Like they just really dug it, and it was mind-boggling to me that like they were into that.
Wow. So could you tell me how long have you been doing this character?
I started doing her in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
January of 2018. It's when I really kind of ripped the Band-Aid off on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you tell me some of the venues that you have played as Madame Commodore?
Well, I did the Edinburgh Fringe in 2019, which was 21 shows.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was a full-on arc story of the show. And I also did that at 59 East 59th Street, which is an off-Broadway theater in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
I've a stand-up. She started out just as stand-up. Mm-hmm. And so I was at the setup in San Francisco. I was at Le Paname Cafe in Paris, and some funky little clubs in Paris. And then just in New York, just kind of all over the place doing her. So
what inspired you to go into comedy? What got you started?
Oh, what got me started? I was taking this great memoir writing class at 92nd Street Y. And it's funny because I was in this class with all these women who had recently lost their husbands. They were like 60s, 70s, 80s. So they were all writing up, I think their therapist told them to take a memoir writing class to excavate a lot of the memories and just heal themselves. Mm-hmm. So I went in, I just had all these really weird stories and awkward stories about just sex, relationships, just health, just weird stories. And people were just laughing. And the teacher, especially since most of them were depressing, so it was just a nice relief. Mm-hmm. The teacher said, "You really got hooks, but you should study stand-up comedy." Mm-hmm. So that was, and around the same time, I was doing a lot of research because I was looking for a new job. I was like, what do I want to do with my life? I've been in healthcare for a long time, and I was just sick of it. And I was like, what should I do? So I went to a career coach. Okay. And he said, what would you do even if someone didn't pay you for it. And immediately it came out of my mouth, I would be a stand-up comedian.
Okay, wow, yeah. So,
Yeah.
so what are some of your new projects that you're working on?
Well, I have a TV show. Well, I've co-written 3 episodes of a show that I'm working with an independent producer, and we're
Wow.
going to shoot it and pitch it. So that's something that's very exciting. I can't say too much about it because I'm just the nature of it. You just don't want to say too much.
So,
But sorry.
it's okay. So where can we see Madame Commodore? Where can we check you out?
I'm at Instagram.com/sexpert Madame K.
Okay.
You can also go to my website, which has a lot of. I did a clown show recently with all these dildos with eyes and clothes on them. So if you want to go to MadameCommodore.com, and I had a show on Twitch TV, and I'm going to be bringing some stuff back in the next month. I'm going to be starting doing these little spots, like these short spots that are really funny and ridiculous, and questions that I've received from men and women.
Okay.
Doing bits about them.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give a young comic, especially a female comic? What advice would you give to someone that's starting out in comedy?
I would say, don't give a crap. Just get on stage as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I did these rounds of what I like to call 90 mics in 90 days, where I would get on stage 90 times in 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
Some days I get on stage like 1 time to 5 times. Someone told me that stand-up comedy is like making pancakes.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first pancake you make, it's going to be crap, right? It's going to be falling apart. It's sticking to the pan. But the next one you do is going to get better. Yeah. And the next one is going to get better. So if you're doing more than one mic in a night, you're just going to keep getting better and better versus doing just one a night. Mm-hmm. So I'd say just get on stage as much as possible. And I would say just go up and just start talking even. Just talk about your day. Because I was told by a comedian, it's about a conversation with the audience, right? Mm-hmm. It's about a conversation. It's not about, let me write this amazing thing and read it to you or recite it to you. Mm-hmm. Like the thing that I like about stand-up comedy is it feels really dangerous. And it's skating that line between like, I don't know, just the unexpected, like you're doing it for the first time. And that, again, that dangerous, what's going to happen. But the confidence that you have. And I think to get that confidence, you just have to get on stage as much as possible.
Okay, because your shows are so interactive, has anything ever weird happened at any of your shows?
Oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing. I actually had a show in the East Village last year, and the police came.
Okay, wow.
It was.
So tell us about that.
Well, I'm kind of cheap. And so the theater, my pieces are really interactive. I bring people up, mm-hmm. But the theater owner said, listen, you need to get insurance if you're going to do any kind of interactive stuff. Okay. And the insurance was like $500. You know, it's more than, it's a lot of money considering the amount of money I'm going to make on this show. And mm-hmm. and so I said, what if I bring actors? You know, can I bring an actor up? So mm-hmm. I had this guy from my clown class, this dude, I barely knew him. Mm-hmm. But I thought he volunteered, he'd do it for free to be a plant in the audience. So I was like, awesome. And he's like, oh, wear a football jersey, I'll look like a real bro. I was like, great. And so there's this part of the show where it's actually kind of serious. It's actually kind of talking about like just really intense Me Too-ish stuff. Mm-hmm. He starts moaning, right? He's mm-hmm. in the back. And I've told the theater, and this is my plant, right? So he starts moaning and and so they call the cops.
Ay.
So the next thing I see, that they're like coming in and they take him out. He's like, and they thought he was masturbating.
Oh, okay.
they didn't actually see anything.
Yeah.
They didn't see anything, but because he was being bizarre, mm-hmm. they assumed. And I mean, they were watching like a hawk for the rest of the show. They were just it was very uncomfortable. And if I had just not been so cheap, it wouldn't have been such a big deal. But and then in Edinburgh, I had these, you bark people in off the street. And so I barked in this this stag party. So these guys were there to like, tie one on the last night, and but it was really cool because I really got, we were all afraid, like, what are these people going to do? You know, what's going to happen? Because you have these British, these like dudes, these like dudes, and people were worried, but it was great, and I got to see, oh, I can handle it. I can handle a crowd, even when something might come up, because one of them got a little out of hand, you know. So I kind of put him in his place a little bit in a friendly way, and so it was a great confidence builder. It's fun to think about that.
That's great. Like, what were some of the most outrageous things you were asked up on stage?
Oh my God. Oh my gosh, it's hard because I think sometimes when a husband and wife are sitting together and the wife is just like, he doesn't make me come. It just puts everyone like, oh my God, what do we say? And so it's handling that, oh, everyone feels a little awkward now, and we're kind of titillated, and we're kind of, how do we handle this? And so that was kind of an awkward moment, but it was great because you know, I've been in open mics so many times, taking questions from people, that I had to kind of answer this a little bit. So I kind of had something up my sleeve, but it was just really funny to have the wife and the husband sitting there, and you have to kind of deal with kind of their craziness.
So my question is, what is your favorite part about playing Madame Commodore?
That I can get away with anything.
Okay.
I can do or say all the things I don't feel like I can do or say as Krista, because I have this idea about myself that I'm this mousy girl who's afraid. I have this, basically, like my inner child. You know, I view myself through the eyes of a child sometimes, who's not allowed to, you know, growing up in a Catholic home, who's not allowed to be sexual, who's not allowed to talk about sex. And that's something I still kind of carry into my adult life. So my offstage persona is pretty different from her, but I think we're starting to merge a little bit, which is great. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I can't remember what the original question was.
Basically, what is your favorite part of being Madame Commodore? Up on stage, you know?
Oh yeah, just that I can, with consent, get these guys to do all these crazy things. Like one guy said, I made sure he had health insurance first, and he wasn't going to sue me. I had to, but I sat on his back and had a girl from the audience come up and hold a microphone with full questions out of a bag, and he'd read them. So I think it's just that feeling of power that's so exciting.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Krista, for being on the show, for being on the Loft. I am very inspired by you. All us comics are. Please continue to keep up the good work. And you guys could find Krista on Instagram and Twitch. And you could follow me on Instagram. Next week, we're not going to be here. It's going to be the Super Bowl. So, guys, enjoy the game. But we'll be here the following week. We have a very special guest. And remember to click like and hit subscribe. And thank you guys for tuning into the Loft. Thank you, Krista, for being here.
Thank you. I had a great time.
Me too. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys. Bye.